Well, it's time now for Media Watch. Eve Irvine is here with us in the studio. It's great to see you, Eve. Let's start with this top story then. The Pope. Now, traditionally, his Christmas message is, rather a warm and cosy event where he talks about what needs to be done, but he also kind of congratulates the people around him. Not so this year. He launched something of a really furious attack on his own bishops.
Indeed,
what's
quite
going
harsh
on?
words, and they were picked up on, as you could imagine, all across the internet. A lot of articles saying, really, picking up that expression, spiritual Alzheimer's that it had. We can see there in the Daily Beast, it leads with that. And it says in its article that not only did he give his cardinals a lump of coal for Christmas, he actually set it on fire. They interview a number of Vatican specialists, if you like, reporters that spend their time following events there, trying to look at behind everything he said when he spoke about the sickness of considering oneself immortal or immune, or that richness feeling superior to the others. They were like, what cardinal is he on about? And they're, giving hints. Could it be such and such cardinal who just had $1 million renovation on his apartment, which now towers over the humble pontiffs in the Vatican? Basically saying that now not only do Catholics have the 7 deadly sins to deal with, there's now the 15 ills of the cardinals on top of it. So they look at that, and basically, however, though, if you look at the Twitter sphere, a lot of Catholics have a very good reaction. You can see there Pope Francis continues to impress, they say. Strong words from the Vatican Curia on what spirituality really means. And another man saying the Pope has blasted the Vatican administration, listed its sins, an honest, courageous leader. How novel. And indeed, this particular man, if you look at his Twitter feed, has even called on Pope Francis to be president, which of course isn't possible. But a clear sign there that a lot of Catholics wanted to see change, and Pope Francis certainly giving somewhat of a image overhaul in any case.
Right, a bit of a paranoid Christmas then for some of the bishops and cardinals in the Catholic Church. But this will simply lend to his own personal popularity. I mean, he was credited for helping restore relations between the United States and Cuba just last week. And now this, it seems there's no end to his popularity at the moment.
No, that is true. And a lot of people are looking at that saying, why did he actually, slap them all on the wrist quite so harshly this year? And a lot of them are questioning, like this article here, the National Catholic Reporter, it leads by saying it's almost official. Pope Francis and certain members of the Curia are openly at battle for the soul and the future of the Catholic Church. Saying that really they interview more specialists saying that inside the Vatican, they're trying to get the inside view. Fear reigns. There's a lot of people working there that don't like that the traditional protocol is being swept away. They're wondering what 2015 might bring. And this article, indeed, and even other ones in the COGS are saying, has his tactic gone too far? This is a risky love affair he's having with the Vatican because, he might want to change and reform, and he's definitely pushing that image that he wants real reform, not just
He's doing it very publicly, isn't he?
He's trying to, at least, and he's getting perhaps the accolades from certain media about it, but they're all saying, but be careful, because next year when you're trying to push in those reforms, you will need this very bureaucratic core. And indeed, 2015, they say, will be a busy year for a maverick Pope. Not always the word you see paired with the Pope.
And I mentioned the Cuba deal, but that wasn't the first time the Pope got himself in the international headlines, was it?
No, indeed. And the Irish Independent has done basically a roundup of what they call 9 amazing things that Pope Francis did in 2014. Basically 9 things that got him in the media, making the headlines. The first one, he was the first religious leader to make the front page, you can see it there, of the Rolling Stone. Pope Francis, these times, they are a-changing. He then went on to do various things. They picked up the light things, that he sold his Harley Davidson for a charity auction. That just makes you think he owned a Harley Davidson. I'd like to have seen that picture. They pick up on 1 or 2 things as well. His human side, how he actually used the F word by mistake in a speech
in what language?
March. He was speaking in Italian, and that was exactly the problem. It was a pronunciation error.
Okay, all right. Let's move on quickly. We're running out of time. But the Australian Prime Minister, Tony Abbott, not often credited as a feminist, has fallen foul of women once again.
Indeed, not the first time. Now, Tony Abbott, Prime Minister of Australia, and he's also the Minister of Women, something he decided himself to do. He appointed himself. But when asked in an interview in Sydney TV this morning what was the best thing he did for women in 2014, he said, cutting the carbon tax. This was not did not go down well with women in Australia. The prime misogynist of Australia wants to be remembered as the Margaret Thatcher of Australia.
Because he said it matters to women because most women are watching the budget.
Sorry, yes, I've missed the essential thing. It's because, and this isn't the first time, back in 2010 as well, he said, well, women, it's the women that are concerned with the household budget. And years ago even he said, and women, I need to warn you, when you plug your iron in, that means your budget is going up. It means more carbon's being used, more money is being used. So really, you know, starting to question the role of women.
Kind of stereotyping women there.
A little bit. One that I personally wouldn't agree with.
At
How
least
about you, Laura?
at least
you do
he's
the
not.
ironing.
Oh, I don't keep control of the finances. That would be a disaster. But at least he's not telling women to breastfeed in the corner like some other politicians I've
Very true, very
mentioned from here. All right, Eve. Thank you very much indeed, Eve Irvine there